Live from Television Park in high definition, coverage you can count on. This is WJBF News Channel 6 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mary Morrison.
And I'm Chris Kane. We thank you for watching News Channel 6 at noon.
Your coverage you can count on begins now with the very latest on that deadly Arizona fire.
Mary, those 19 men perished in the blaze. They were considered the best of the best, and they had the stories to prove it.
ABC's Brandy Hitt has that big story.
With heavy hearts, 500 firefighters are now desperately working to stop the raging Yarnell wildfire as this small town continues to grieve the deaths of 19 firefighters lost in the fast-moving blaze.
It was very tough to hear.
At a vigil Monday night, the brave firefighters were remembered as heroes, with each of their names read aloud.
Kevin Wojcik, 21.
What I would give to hear him laugh and smile again.
William Warnicki, 25.
Got this job up in Prescott as the hotshot crew just in April.
29-year-old Andrew Ashcraft was a father of 4.
We celebrated their dad and the hero that he is and will always be, and he's an angel for us now.
The elite firefighters were members of the Granite Mountain Hotshots, the best of the best, trained to fight the hottest parts of the fire. A dry thunderstorm with strong erratic winds shifted unexpectedly on the crew Sunday, and they found themselves surrounded by 20-foot flames. The Associated Press reports the only survivor was driving a truck and managed to escape.
He's well. He wasn't with them when they had to deploy their shelter.
Fire crews from around the region are now working to save the town of Yarnell, where more than 50 buildings have burned and dozens of homes remain threatened.
As this memorial continues to grow outside the Hotshots fire station, firefighters are once again dealing with triple-digit heat and no containment. Brandy Hitt, ABC News, Prescott, Arizona.
Here at home, South Carolina firefighters who battled wildfires are taking the Arizona deaths pretty hard. You see, they do the same job with the same equipment and the same techniques. Brad Bramlett is a wildfire firefighter with the Georgia Forestry Commission. He is demonstrating the emergency shelter that's all wildfire firefighters carry as a last resort. If there is no escape, they pull the shelter over them and it reflects most of the heat. Sadly, those shelters did not save the 19 firefighters in Arizona.
You can plan as much as you like and train as much as you like, but there are things that happen out there in a wildfire that's governed by the weather and fuels that we just can't predict and can't plan for.
Now, those emergency shelters did save the lives of 2 South Carolina firefighters a few years ago. The Forestry Commission is also in the process of getting new bulldozers that have those enclosed cabs. Those hopefully will give firefighters more protection.
And every day, firefighters all over the country risk their lives battling blazes. Several fire crews are battling a massive hotel fire in the Houston area. The blaze broke out early this morning at a 5-story hotel, which is under construction. People in that hotel next door were evacuated. A couple of firefighters were taken to the hospital after suffering a neck burn. He is expected to be okay.
And Chris, more than 160 firefighters contended with this massive fire at an unoccupied commercial building near Los Angeles, California. One resident told reporters the building was once used to make plastic and contain cardboard and chemicals. One firefighter was treated for smoke inhalation and heat exhaustion. He is expected to recover.
Well, our friends out west are seeing some very hot, dry weather, but for us, rain is the big story. We now have flood watches and flash flood watches that have now been extended farther west, now encompassing most of the state of Georgia at this time. We're already seeing rain on the radar, and here's a look at what I'm talking about. We have a batch of moderate to heavy rain rolling through Screven County, through Allendale. SRS getting hammered right now, back over to Barnwell. That is sliding from south to north. A couple of other sporadic showers across portions of Burke County, and I think that area is likely to fill in as we go into the rest of the afternoon. Now here's the big picture. Frontal boundary now just sort of stalled out for the area. That's going to keep us in a very moist pattern. Right now we have the heaviest rain right along coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina, but you take a look at the latest run of the forecast model and it's painting out a very wet picture. We're talking the potential of an additional 3 to 5 inches of rain for our area over the next couple of days. Guys, we're going to break down those rain chances, what you can expect even as we head towards that 4th of July holiday. That's coming up in a few minutes.
Ed, thanks. And news across the CSRA, a fox in Augusta tests positive for rabies. The animal is near the Powell Road area. Pets living in the area need to have an up-to-date rabies vaccination. A Richmond County Health Department officials say to report any contact of humans with wild animals to the number on your screen. If your pets come into contact with wild animals, call the Richmond County Animal Services. That number also on your screen.
Yes, speaking of those wild animals, a morning run turned into a very scary situation for a local man when he was attacked by an animal while running in his neighborhood.
Yeah, Barkley Bishop joins us now from the news desk. And Barkley, this happened in broad daylight.
Yeah, guys, he was just minding his own business when it happened, and now he wants others to be on alert so it doesn't happen to them either. Kent Posey he's just finished up his series of rabies shots after he says he was bit by either a coyote or gray fox along Scotts Way in Augusta. Thankfully, his neighbors saw it all unfold, and he was able to get to the hospital right away.
I was running up the hill on the left side of this road, and there was a dog, well, I thought it was a dog coming down the street towards me, and he actually went around to the left side, or to the right side, I'm sorry, across the road. I hear him growling, and I look back, and he's on my left side, and as I look down to see him growling at me, he lunges towards me and bites me, and you know, I guess the top teeth got into me and ripped into me.
Now, no sightings have been made of the wild animals since the incident happened. Wildlife officials say this is the time of the season when you really need to be careful because these wild animals are out in the daytime looking for food to feed their young. Chris and Mary, back to you.
Barkley, thank you. An autopsy is scheduled to be today for 2 victims in what police are calling a murder-suicide. Now, one of the victims has been identified as a Fort Gordon soldier. Captain Angela Lee died early Sunday at a home on the 3500 block of Crawfordville Drive that's near Bel Air Road. Investigators believe she was killed by her husband, Timothy Lee, after they got into an argument. Captain Lee was a U.S. Army Reserve signal officer who worked in satellite communications.
In Louisville, Georgia, 2 of 3 suspects wanted in the murder of 23-year-old Kenneth Quarterman Jr. are now behind bars. According to the Jefferson County District Attorney, Delonte Tarver and Octavius Hickson turned themselves into the sheriff's office early Monday afternoon. Darius Jackson is still wanted in that murder. Quarterman was shot and killed outside of Club Apollo on Sunday, June 16th.
In Richmond County, some people are blaming officers after a tasing incident turns deadly. According to an incident report, 2 deputies were attempting to apprehend 40-year-old George Harvey on the corner of Olive Road and Gordon Highway Saturday night. That's when deputies say a struggle happened. They say they tased Harvey and then he went into an apparent cardiac arrest. The Richmond County deputies are staying quiet today. They say it is in the hands of the Georgia Bureau of Investigations at this time.
The reason is once one of our deputies are involved in a situation which results in the loss of life, we'll notify an outside agency, that being the GBI. Once the GBI comes in, they'll collect all their evidence, they collect all their statements, they collect all their photos, and they investigate the situation. What the sheriff's office does not want to do is we do not want the public to think that we're hiding something.
Officials with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office say they will release all that they can as soon as evidence is done being gathered and autopsy results are in.
And now to the latest on last Thursday's gospel concert that promised 3 national singers. We first told you about what was promoted as the James Fortune and Friends concert at the Tabernacle Baptist Church in Augusta. The church says this is surveillance video of promoter Sharif King collecting money. Attendees claim that King did not deliver on what he promoted. King says the church was at fault.
That can be criminal, but the problem is we don't know what transpired. You know, if I was to, you know, tell you, hey, I'm going to have somebody come here and do.
Now, according to King, no money was taken by him or anyone from his company, Dower Live Records. Lieutenant Chu says the sheriff's office cannot investigate unless criminal reports are filed.
Recent heavy rain caused a Saluda County woman to hydroplane and run off the road. The woman's car fell some 15 feet and ended up upside down in a ravine. The spot where she was washed off the road had no shoulder and no guardrail, even though it was right by a 15-foot drop into water. Her father says this does not have to happen.
No rails whatsoever. Rails would have at least kept her in the road instead of going down this creek and into these woods. I can't imagine there being an excuse why there isn't guardrail here.
Now, News Channel 6's Ashley Bridges is continuing to follow this story. She'll have more on Palmetto State guardrails tonight on News Channel 6 at 5 and 6.